Peace, family. I'm going to do this video about Byron Donald. He's a black Republican that represents the state of Florida. He's recently come under fire because he made a statement that during Jim Crow, black people had a higher marital rate than they do today. This indicated that somehow Jim Crow had something to do with the higher marital rate of black people. How it was some type of beneficial period of time. And when he said this got the attention of Al Sharpton and some other talking heads on MSNBC. Byron Donald trying to backtrack what he said. Now he's claiming that people are lying on him, saying that he said that Jim Crow had a positive influence over black people. And he said, I never said that. And what he said is true. He never did say that. But the fact of the matter is this: you implied it. As a matter of fact, you implied it several times. He released a video on his website that showed exactly what he said and how he said it. And you mentioned Jim Crow 3 or 4 times. And you equated it to higher marital rate, black families staying together, and black people voting more conservatively. You implied that during Jim Crow, that somehow Jim Crow influenced black people to do all these things. When the fact of the matter is this: Jim Crow had nothing to do with that at all. Now the problem I have with you bringing up Jim Crow and equating these positive impacts to black people is this: you could have cited anything for why black people married more up under this period of time, why black families were together more during this period of time, why black people voted more conservatively during this period of time, other than mentioning Jim Crow. Jim Crow started 100 years, Jim Crow started right after slavery ended for the next 100 years. You had several presidents who you could have equated this reason to. You could have equated it to the laws and legislation that was passed during this period. You could have relegated it just to 30 years after slavery, 50 years after slavery. You didn't even have to mention Jim Crow. But this is what black conservatives do. They go over and beyond trying to justify their affiliation with this Republican Party, and you make yourself look silly. When you was on Joy Reid's show, and she asked you, how did Jim Crow allow black people or protect black people's rights to get married or vote conservatively, keep their family together, you said absolutely nothing. Then when Joy Reid mentioned this horrifying story that happened, she said it was a black boy that worked in this shop, and he wanted to gain the affection of white people. He just wanted white people to like black people. So he wrote letters to everybody that worked there. Then he wrote a letter to the little white girl whom he liked. When the father of the little white girl found out, he got a couple of his friends and went to the little boy's home. When the black boy's mother tried to stop him from coming in, they overpowered her, snatched the boy out of the home, took the boy to the father's place of business, removed the father from his job, and tied them both up and took them down to the river. The little white girl's father and his friends told the black boy, you got 2 choices. Either you jump in that river, tied up, or we're going to shoot you. And they did this right in front of the child's father. The little boy chose to jump in the river, and they found his body a day or 2 later. And they were able to do this right in the light of day. Never brought the charges. Justice was never served. This was all done up under the Jim Crow era. But for some reason, like I said, this is some type of desperation measure that black conservatives do to justify their affiliation with this Republican, the Conservative Party. They'll meander through all this history and try to equate Jim Crow to how you know, and then now you want to deny that you said it. And your denial made me think of Star Wars when Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker that he was his father. Luke Skywalker goes back to Obi-Wan Kenobi and said, "You told me that Darth Vader betrayed and killed my father. Why did you lie to me?" And Obi-Wan Kenobi said, "I didn't lie." He said, "Your father, Anakin, was a good man. And the more he learned about the Force, he learned then about the dark side. And the more he learned about the dark side of the Force, the good man that your father was ceased to exist. And then he became Darth Vader. So I told you the truth from a certain point of view." And see, Byron Donald, you did not say that Jim Crow had a positive impact or an influence on black people, but you indirectly said it. And the bottom line is this: had Darth Vader never revealed to Luke Skywalker that he was his father, had you, Byron Donald, never appeared on Al Sharpton's show or Joy Reid's show, never challenged you in what you said, Obi-Wan Kenobi would have never told Luke Skywalker that Darth Vader was his father. And you never would have told anybody, you would have let people believe that Jim Crow somehow had some type of positive influence on black people. You would have never admitted the truth. And see, like I say, you didn't even have to mention Jim Crow, but you doubled down on it. You said that now not only did black people have a higher marital rate during Jim Crow, but when you look at the marital rate of people today, which is 60, 70 years beyond Jim Crow, it's lower now. So you're telling people that the further we got away from Jim Crow, the lower the marital rate between black people got. And see, and it wasn't until the end of Jim Crow that you, Byron Donald, was able to marry a white woman, which you could have never done during Jim Crow. If they shot a little boy and made him jump in the river just for writing a white girl a letter, what do you think they would have did to you, Byron Donald, had you professed your love for a white woman during the Jim Crow era? So no, you didn't say that Jim Crow was a positive influence on black people, but you came close enough that you might as well have said it anyway. So ain't nobody got to lie on you, fool.